That's it. We are back online, Deval, and
We're back.
we're back, folks. And this is going to be. Listen, look, man, we've been waiting
Mm,
for Eternals for what feels like
yeah,
eternity, man. Seriously, this is just like been ages, right?
it's been delayed over a no year because it was meant to be out November 2020 originally, I think. So
Yes,
it's a clean year
it
delay.
has been a long time. And listen, the hype's been like legit about this
Mm,
movie, right? Because and sometimes when you kind of like you have so much hype surrounding a movie and like film director, and you just want it to
yeah,
be so good and stuff like that. And yeah, we're going to get into the whole Eternal stuff. We're going to break it down for you. We're also, if we've got time, I hope we've got time, we're going to be speaking about The Harder They Fall, which is this new
yeah,
Netflix movie, which is a great movie, by the way. I'm just going to preempt that. And obviously the film news and new and streaming and new trailers. But listen, look, let's get into this because there's a lot to
yep.
get through, a lot to unpack. So, Deval, take it away. Who we shouting out?
Yeah, so first couple of shout outs go to our very own Zakharov. There you go, Zakharov. I'm sure he's cooking spicy something right now. And what was the shout out this week? I think it was to do with horror films, I
Yeah,
believe. I'll just double check, but I know he does love all kinds of films, all kinds of hidden gems, and he shouted out some horrors. Also shouted out that he really can't wait to see Last Night in Soho. We
yeah,
reviewed that last week. I'm sure he's heard it. No spoilers, but yeah, he's really looking forward to that. Next shout out goes out to Cloud Watcher Uno. He was basically asking about how Last Night in Soho was, but he
yeah,
loves all kinds of horror films. So watch out for that. He's also got a really great event. Go check out his Instagram, Cloud Watcher Uno. He's got an event happening on the 18th of November. Like I said, also say for Cloud Watcher, eclectic music,
yeah.
and he's going to have a live event in London. So if you're in
That's
London,
wicked.
go check him out.
Do it.
Next shout out goes out to Nina Artisan. So she mentioned the week before about her top horror films, and she's just saying she loves the idea of Antlers and Last Night in Soho and The Night House, which is actually on Disney Plus right now. Actually, so yeah, there you go.
Which one?
Uh, yeah, so I think those are this week's shout outs. Those are
So,
this week's. I think I'm missing anyone else.
yeah. Sorry,
Who
did you
else
say
am I
The
missing?
Night House is on Disney Plus?
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus. Yeah,
Wow.
I didn't realize it until after I watched it.
Yeah, that
Uh,
was a quick turnaround.
People are thinking, so how did we watch it then? Well, I watched it, but you know what? This week's
Without eyes.
exactly. But you know what? This brings us to this week's competition. This week's
Yes.
competition. I just mentioned Disney Plus. It's a good one. This week we're asking for the same thing. All you got to do is write, white. Talking to Jonathan Ross here. Write us a review. Write us a review, please, and then let us know about it. Post a review. Say what you like about us. Hopefully good, and let us know you posted the review, and we will send you. Actually, this time is different. You're not going to get a cinema ticket. You're not going to
This
get
is
Rakuten.
mad.
We're going to give you 6 months free.
Listen,
6 months free Disney Plus,
you just
mate.
can't beat it.
You've
You
also got to
can't
be a
beat it.
follower. You've also got to be a follower of the
Yeah.
Flixters on Instagram, and all that as well. And you've got to post a review. Post a review. So there's a couple more. One more thing you got to do, but you got just it's easy to do. Just click follow
This
in
is,
it.
you know what? This is the best. Which other film podcast show do you
Exactly.
get these giveaways,
Ah,
man? Nah, man.
hey,
Seriously,
six
seriously. We
months
should
free.
be.
Whew.
We should have thousands and thousands of followers. Nah, seriously, get onto it. And
Mm,
that Disney Plus subscription could be yours, and you could be
yeah.
watching The Night House. You could be watching the whole
Mm.
Marvel
Boba Fett
lot.
when it comes out.
Uh,
Hawkeye when it comes out. Best time to have
Shang-Chi
Disney
next
Plus.
week.
Shang-Chi next week. Damn. Okay.
Get onto it, folks.
You heard it.
Yeah, get onto it. All right, okay, let's do movie news, Deval. Now,
Yeah.
you mentioned this Christopher Nolan, well, this kind of like new Christopher Nolan movie that's kind of being worked upon behind the scenes,
Mm.
like Oppenheimer and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
man, this cast list, man, this is sounding great. What is it?
Yeah, I mean, already, I mean, I think you schooled me on Oppenheimer. Am I saying it right? Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
You schooled me on who it was. It's the person or one of the people that, created or sort of brought about the atomic bomb and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
But in Eternals, we'll see someone else was involved in that. But anyway, but yeah, so
Classic.
the cast list is now grown. already we had Scarecrow. What's his name from Batman? Uh,
Killian.
Killian Murphy. Now we've got Robert Downey Jr., Emily Blunt, Matt Damon. So yeah, killer lineup, and let's see just how good this movie is going to be when it comes out in a couple of years'
Yeah.
time.
And
Yeah.
you know what? People listen to this, they might be thinking, what? Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. being
Mm,
in a kind of like dramatic role. But remember, this
yeah.
guy, he's done drama.
Yeah, he's done Charlie Chaplin. He's done
Yeah, he was Oscar
all kinds
nominated.
of all kinds of films before Marvel. Like is the stuff that he started doing after he sort of went downhill. But he's a respectable actor. You got
Yeah,
Iron Man there. You got what's the name from Live Die Repeat. What's that film called again?
Edge of
Uh,
Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. She's gangster. Also
She's
Sicario.
wicked.
You got Jason Bourne in there. Come on, man.
This is crazy, 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 crazy. Another thing that's crazy is they've shut down production
Oh
on Black Panther
man.
Wakanda Forever. So what's going on? So listen, Deval, so they were basically she had a pretty bad injury, right? And
Yeah.
this was like a while ago, wasn't it?
You mentioned it. I think you mentioned it a
Yeah,
little while ago. Yeah, I didn't realize it was so bad though, because like you just said, they've shut down their set.
production.
Yeah, production stopped. So when that happens, it means something more, serious has happened.
But you know what also that means? She's
Mm.
such a key figure in the movie. What does that do?
Oh,
She's basically she's going to be in every single scene. And what the rumor
okay,
is that she is. I mean, is it a
okay.
really? Is it really a rumored? Like, is it kind of surprised she's going to be the new Black Panther? I think that's what it is.
Oh,
The rumor is that she's going to be the Black Panther and Namor, which you've spoken about
oh,
so many
yeah,
times.
yeah.
Namor is going to be the villain of the piece. So
Mm,
it
okay.
it makes sense though, I reckon. But listen, look, they shut down production. She's hurt her, she injured her arm and everything. And at first, people weren't so sure about whether or not it was serious, but apparently it is serious. And
Mm,
like that was back in August, and now we're in November.
okay.
Flipping out.
So they had no heart-shaped herb for her then, no?
No, 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 no. Devout, I want to speak about this next piece. All right, Doctor Strange
Uh,
2, we know this is going to
yeah.
be a mad movie because it's in the title. It's been delayed, so if you didn't know that, that might be some news for you. In this delayed in the sense that it's still coming out in the same year, but just by a
Hmm.
few months, right? It's delayed, Devout.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, let's speak about the villain or villains. There might be more than one villain in this piece. I kind of sent you a message about this. But
Yeah.
let's speak about this kind of. I still don't know much about this villain, man. Who is this
What's
villain and what? Like,
Shumagorath? Shumagorath. He's
this is
he's
mad.
like one eye. He's got an eye like a cyclops, and he's like an
Yeah,
octopus. No, not an octopus. More like a starfish. Yeah. So he
right.
looks kind of like the creature that we saw in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
Kind of like that, but a
yeah.
really smaller version. But he's not too dissimilar in the fact that he's got some powers just like that as well. I really love some of the powers that he has: energy projection,
Wow.
reality manipulation, shape shifting, levitation, teleportation, immortality. He's got vast mystical powers, and that's what really aligns him with none other than Doctor Strange. In the comics, Doctor Strange and Shumagorath have had battles for many many years. Shumagorath looks weird, but he is weird. In the movie, it's said that Shumagorath is on the hunt for America Chavez because she has the power to teleport between different multiverses. And I think Shumagorath, is now looking for that ability. So he's trying to
Oh,
capture America Chavez. Doctor Strange is obviously going to try and protect her because if Shumagorath has the ability to teleport between multiverses, that's the next level of omnipotence that will become him. So
this
it's
is
going to
mad.
be
This is mad. Seriously, check this out. Some of his aliases are Conqueror of the Midnight, the Void, the Void made flesh, the Withering Devourer. I mean, you can't go. And the one that you just said, the
conqueror
Unclosing
of the
Eye.
midnight.
The Unclosing Eye. You can't gonna get worse than
Unclosing
that.
eye. It's just like that constantly.
That's
It's like,
that sounds like Devour, but with his eye.
I sleep with
Um,
one eye open, mate. Trust me.
so listen, man, this is going to be mad. We don't know. Again, I
Uh,
mean, it's rumor, but on this
mm,
show, you know our rumors come out true because we
yeah,
kind of broke
yeah,
the Will
yeah,
Poulter news
yeah.
there, by the way. So listen, yeah. So we'll kind of keep an eye on this one, and I think that's going to be a mad movie. Remember,
Yeah.
Spider-Man, who is going to be coming to the screens very, very shortly, and
Mm.
Doctor Strange is going to be in that as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. All right, and let's speak about another villain, or well, yeah, another villain maybe, or another character. Deval, brace yourself for this. Jim Carrey
Hmm.
could be joining the MCU. Now,
What?
this is
In what capacity? Pray
as
tell.
a villain,
Ugh.
and the villain could be Modoc. Now, I mean, I don't know much
Mm.
about Modoc. I mean, but from what I've gathered, the guy is the strange character. Like I've seen drawings of him, like this green
Yeah.
little thing, and like looks pretty strange. Jim Carrey can do strange, right? Come on, if there's anyone who can do strange,
He
it's him.
he can do strange. Modoc. I mean, I know there's like a animation on Disney
Yeah,
Plus at the moment of
yeah.
Modoc. Uh, and Modoc's a weird thing. He looks like you say, he looks like a head. He's got these little legs. What does he stand for? He stands for
I don't know.
mental or mobile or mechanized. I think most of the time it's mechanized organism designed only for killing. That's what Modoc stands for.
That's mad.
But yeah, he's got some powers on him. He's got mad intelligence. He has psionic powers, so a bit like Psylocke in
Right.
X-Men,
Yeah.
ability to calculate all possibilities basically. So
Damn.
he's mad clever, genius level intellect. So he just wants to kill people, and he's just yeah, and he's part of AIM as well. Advanced ideal mechanics, I think they're called. The people
Damn.
that we saw a little bit in Iron Man 3. So he's kind of linked to those people. But
And
Modoc, Jim Carrey, I could see it, but I'm
yeah,
wondering how they're going to manifest it. How's he going to look? Is he going to look comic
there's
book? You know?
exactly, but exactly because he's a green little thing with big round head or whatever. But see, the
Yeah.
thing is, they're saying that his an incarnation could appear in She-Hulk.
Oh,
It could
okay.
start off, yeah,
Okay.
starting off with She-Hulk, and then it kind of that kind of role could kind of like expand into other areas. And
Mm,
maybe they're doing this now to focus a lot on the villains develop because obviously for the last 10 years we've just had the heroes and some one excuse me one or two kind of like Thanos obviously being the best villain that
yeah.
we've seen.
Yes.
Maybe they need more great villains and
Mm,
great actors to kind of fulfill those roles. So we'll
mm.
see.
Okay.
We'll keep you posted on that one.
All right.
And listen, look, we're going to round off our movie news with this final piece. So, Deval, remember we spoke about it on the show. There was this Western movie being made starring Alec Baldwin called
Mm,
Rust, and unfortunately, someone passed away on the set of that, the cinematographer. Well,
yeah,
Dwayne The Rock Johnson, he has come out and obviously he said, look, it's sad news, it's bad what's happening. But
definitely.
basically, basically also turning around and saying why the F is this shit still happening because it was a live. I
Mm.
didn't know this. It was a live round.
Serious. It actually was then. That's what I
It
couldn't understand.
was. I couldn't understand
Why are there
this.
live rounds on set?
I've. This is the enigma of the whole thing, which is what they're still investigating, and allegedly it's a live round, and The Rock has turned around and he vows. This is what he's had to say. He vows never to use real guns on set
Mm,
again. It's just like crazy. Like he says, I've known Alec for a long time. I can tell you without an absence of clarity here that any movie that we have moving forward with Seven Bucks Productions, any movie, any television show, or anything we do or produce, we won't use real guns at all. And then
mm,
I was just thinking, but how? So they've been making movies with real guns,
mm. From what I understand, what I thought was that they have real guns, but they have blanks inside them.
blanks in them.
I think they
Yeah,
have the authenticity of a real gun, the whole weight and the feel and the look of it. But I thought it was blank. So to hear that there was a live round, yeah, that's crazy. I don't know
it's
what's going on.
crazy. It's crazy. And like we must add, look, it's very, very rare. But I think there's going to be a change in the way that
Mm,
Hollywood makes movies, man. I reckon it's going to be a
yeah,
case of like they're going to go like not having real live rounds and real
oh
guns or
yeah,
whatever. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah, keep your eyes on that one. All right, Deval,
Mm,
let's move on to streaming. Now,
Yeah.
so two brand new releases out on Netflix. First one is Midnight Mass, and I haven't had the chance to watch this.
Mm.
But yeah, what can you tell us about this?
Yes, I blitzed this during the week. Obviously, the sort of spillover of Halloween. I thought, "Like,
Yeah.
let me get something a bit more scary up in the place, you know." So I thought, let me see this on Netflix. It's Mike Flanagan who brought us The Haunting of Hill House, Bly Manor, Gerald's Game, among others. Was he Into the Tall Grass? I can't remember.
Oh,
But
yeah,
but anyway,
possibly.
yeah. So it's literally like a show, seven episodes long, pretty much nearly an hour long each episode. It's got a lot of the same cast from Haunting of Hill House and
Right.
Bly Manor. Literally the same cast. He's just spilled over with a few new people. It's about a small town on an island in America somewhere, and they're a very religious town, very small town. Everyone knows everyone, and priest. He goes missing, and another priest returns in his place, and this priest is a bit weird.
He
Weird
looks
things
weird.
happen. Yeah, weird things happen around the village. When I say weird, weird good, weird bad. But one thing that happens is one of the young girls in the village. She's There was an accident a few years ago and she can't walk anymore. She's in a wheelchair, and
Right.
then the priest, like, there's a moment where he says to her, come to me," and then she gets up and walks, and then
Oh.
different miracles start to happen. But then you realize these miracles are also they're born of a dark, dark nature,
Oh
and
my
there's a price for those miracles.
gosh.
So yeah, it's a bit of a madness. So you think it's good, but there's a dark, dark price to be paid.
Damn.
Like what's his name said in Dark Strange, the debt will be paid or something
Paid.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baron, what's his name? Uh, so yeah, it's a decent sort of horror
Yeah.
dark show, worth a watch. I liked it, and yeah, Mike Flanagan again doing his usual thing. So yeah, worth a
Yeah.
watch.
He's doing well for Netflix over there.
Yeah.
And the other one, now listen, this next piece devout, I had a choice obviously over the weekend, which was to
Mm,
watch Army of Thieves, which is the prequel to Army of the Dead,
yeah.
or watch Harder They Fall. And I was like,
Okay.
I'm gonna go for Harder They Fall. And
Holiday
I,
Four. Okay.
yeah, but I mean, Army of Thieves is definitely on my watch list. It's definitely there because I've
Yeah.
heard some good stuff about it. But listen, yeah, man, what can you tell us about this?
No, do you know what? You're right. I literally just finished it this morning. I had to watch it
Yeah,
in bits. Like I watched it over like 2 3 days. But it's a fun film. It's just over 2 hours long. It stars. I want to get his name right, but I don't know if I will. But it does star
the German
the
guy, right?
German guy. Yeah, who is his name is worth saying actually is Matthias. Hmm. Yeah, his first name's Matthias. Well, he's a good actor. Natalie Emmanuel's in it from Game of Thrones. What's his name? Guz Khan, who's Man Like Mobeen. He's big in the
Yeah, yeah,
UK,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
comedy
yeah, big,
stuff and
yeah,
all that.
yeah.
So nice little cast there, and it is a prequel, a direct prequel to Army of was it Army of Darkness?
Army of Dead, Army of
Army of the
Dead.
Dead, sorry, Army of the
Yeah.
Dead. So Zack Schneider. But the funny thing is, yeah, is that Matthias, the German guy, he's a good actor. You know, he's a good actor. He makes
Mm.
me laugh. He's quirky. He's exactly how he was in Army of uh, Army of the
Army
Dead.
of the Dead.
But this
Yeah.
is before, so he's not so burnt. In that one,
Right.
he's sort of been through a few things. But you know what? He's also the director. I had no idea.
Ah.
He directed and
Wow.
starred in this film. The guy's like he's quite young. He's got his own production company. He's very very big in Germany. He's a
Ah.
really good. Yeah, he's look out for him. Not only 1981, so he's like 39 or something. So
Damn.
yeah, he's good.
He's
Good
freaking
show.
younger than me, man. So what? So he. So this has this got zombies in it?
Well, good question. This is I don't know how long it is before the zombie film, but it's before. And basically, he's a master from a young age. He's studied about safes and stuff like that, and he's learned how to crack safes. They form a team, just like you see in the trailer. They form a team to go cracking safes. Natalie Emmanuel's character is like the leader, and what you see in the background and some of the news reports during the film, you
Oh
see
right.
you see reports of the zombie breakout, and like
Breakout. Okay.
one of the security guards is saying, "Oh yeah, Zac Efron's a zombie now." They're like, "Oh," sort of thing, you know. So the
Yeah.
zombie breakout has already happened, and
Right.
it's
Right.
happening
Right.
in the background
Right.
of
Okay.
this.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that answers your question.
And
But
does it
it's good. It's funny.
is there going to be another one? It sounds like as if there could
There's
be another one, right?
space for another one. there is space for another one. That's all I'm going to
Okay.
say. Yeah.
All right, wicked. All right, yeah, no, I'm definitely going to be watching that. All right, okay, let's check
And
out
Zack Snyder
trailers.
also co-wrote it as well. Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah, Zack Snyder's
yeah, because
involved.
this is,
Yeah.
I think, is like zombie universe thing, which is what he's
Yeah.
working
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Netflix
Yeah.
on. So yeah, I reckon there's going to be more. All right, okay, let's check out new trailers, Devout, and the book of Boba
Mm.
Fett. Okay, so Deval, what are we looking? What are we talking about over here? This is coming out at the end of December or the middle of December.
28th after Christmas, before New Year. 28th or 29th, one of them. So yeah, so just after your Christmas food is digested and you think,
Yeah,
oh yeah, New Year's
you've been
coming. Nope.
stuffed.
The book of Boba Fett comes first.
What a name!
I know,
What a
yeah.
name!
The book of Boba Fett. Yeah, so this one is again set just after the events of Mandalorian season 2. And we
Yeah,
see Boba Fett and
sitting on
I
the
always forget
throne or
the
whatever it
lady's
was.
name, but Ming Na Wen's character.
Yeah,
Uh, they're obviously now taking over Jabba the Hutt's sort of,
Fennec.
domain. And yeah, so now they have to, take care of it. They have to manage the business. Jabba the Hutt is a low down, dirty, scoundrel, smuggling spice and all things nice. And he has to now manage all his contacts. And but he in the trailer you see that he says Boba Fett. He says that Jabba the Hutt ruled with fear. Now
Hmm.
he wants to rule with respect. I think he says.
Okay.
Uh, so he wants to do things slightly differently. So
Yeah,
it's a bit of a spin on the character that we thought was totally evil. Now
but
he's got a bit of a,
bit of a well. Remember, I thought in the Mandalorian, I thought he was going to double cross. There was a bit
mm,
in there where I thought he was going to double cross. What's his name? Jin Djarin.
Ma- yeah,
You know,
Mando. Yeah,
yeah, Mando. I thought he was going to double cross him, but then he didn't. And I was like, okay, yeah. And then we kind of see if you don't know the setup, you got to go back and watch season 2 of the Mandalorian. But yeah, Boba Fett's in it. He helps
mm,
him Mando out and stuff, and there's kind of like a whole big battle thing in there. And there, it's looking good. Can't wait for this. And then,
yeah.
do we know if is this a one-off, Deval? Is this am I hearing it's a one-off?
It's hard to say. I don't know. Sometimes you might get a spillover between, characters and series, just like we saw Boba Fett enter Mandalorian. Maybe another series down the line, he might enter someone else's. I just don't know. But
Yeah,
you can catch it all on Disney Plus, like you said. And if you write us that review,
you
you
could be
can get
watching
free
it
Disney Plus for six
free of
months.
charge. All right, okay. The other trailer. Let's get through this one now. Speaking of delayed movies, Deval, this
Mm.
movie was supposed to come out last year as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. This was supposed to come out last year.
So
When was it supposed to come out last year? It was like oh my gosh,
October. Sony, they usually do their ones
it
October
was
time. Was
October.
it?
You're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think you're
Maybe,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
September,
yeah.
October time. But
Mm,
Morbius is this kind of expanding
yeah,
the kind of the Sony Marvel universe.
yeah,
And you know what? They do this thing now. Sony do this thing now where it's like they plaster the word Marvel on
yeah.
their trailers, and it's almost like as if they're
Yes.
piggybacking, on the Marvel success, which I'm
Yeah.
a bit annoyed about. But okay, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. But I'm not like kind of like hugely kind of like, oh wow, I've got to watch this movie. But I got to say, watching the trailer, I was like, okay, that choice of music. They play a song from the Lost Boys, kind of like a different version
Mm.
of the song from the Lost Boys.
That's a
Obviously,
vampire. That's a vampire film, isn't
that's a
it?
vampire film, and
Yeah.
they're really kind of selling this one. So yeah, like you know, like when we first saw the trailer for Venom, we were like, okay, yeah, we'll see what happens, and like it wasn't like an instant classic, and the same thing
Mm.
could be about Morbius as well, right?
Yeah, I think it did give us a lot more than the first trailer.
Yeah,
It showed us a bit of humor. It showed us a bit more of his powers. The special effects seem to be, completed in all these scenes, and it looks like a ready-made movie now. We saw a bit of comedy where he says, "Oh, I am Venom," and it goes to show that he knows who Venom is. Even in the
yes.
trailer, they talk about the incident in San Francisco, and we see, uh, "I'm Batman." What's his name again?
Keaton,
Yeah, Michael Keaton. We see Michael
he's in
Keaton's
it.
character say to him, "Let's keep in touch." That's also linking to the possibility of
Of
Sinister Six and all that kind of
yes,
shit,
yeah,
and some sort of collaboration. But yeah, it's like this one, I've got a funny feeling this could be better than Venom. That's
Better
what I
than
think. In
Venom.
my,
Yeah,
that's what I think for me personally. Because
yeah,
Venom for me didn't really do it,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
Michael Morbius is a deep character. I like him in the Spider-Man cartoons. He was
It was
wicked.
wicked. It was
He was
wicked.
wicked. Yeah,
Yeah,
Spider-Man cartoons.
I
He was
loved it.
wicked.
It was really good.
Yeah.
There's a bit in this trailer where he's kind of like you see the ugly side of him and stuff. And I thought, okay,
Mm,
yeah, this is gonna give some
yeah.
chills to some kids now when they see this.
Yeah.
So definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, look, we'll wait and see. When is this coming out again?
January. I think it's late January 2022.
Late
So not
January.
too long. 2 3 months.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, yeah. Well, look, as soon as it comes out, we'll be reviewing it and we'll be
Mm,
obviously letting you know about it. And until then, go check out the trailer. It's on YouTube and let us know what you think on our Instagram page. All right, let's check
yes.
out Anniversary Corner Devaldo. Now, this movie from 2011, kind of a great introduction to a
Mm,
huge Marvel character from the comic books. You know, kind of our introduction to Chris Hemsworth, although we had seen Chris Hemsworth in kind of other roles before, smaller roles, whatever. But this is kind of Chris Hemsworth kind of like arrival into Hollywood and into
yeah.
the MCU. So this is Thor. And I got to say, I had a great, huge fun watching the movie. I
Mm,
really liked Kenneth Branagh's directing, the way he kind of imbibed it with this kind of Shakespearean kind of like,
mm,
you know, uh, he kind of gives it that kind of gravitas. But you know,
yeah.
there's lots of action in there, low key, that relationship that is kind of there as well. But I thought it was a great Marvel movie.
10 years. Can you imagine? 10 years has gone past since it came out,
Crazy.
and it's like Marvel's has gone from strength to strength. And yeah, you're right. It was a good movie, great villain, Loki. Who I'm so glad
Yes.
they didn't kill off.
Oh man.
Uh, you talk about it being Shakespearean and Kenneth Branagh's sort of status. Sir Anthony Hopkins was in this as well.
Yes.
Natalie Portman, obviously, she's a Harvard graduate. We've got the Stellan Skarsgård, who we recently
Yeah.
saw in Dune. He's done a lot of great films. Kat Dennings, Idris. Don't forget Idris is there
Idris Heimdall.
as Heimdall, giving us the view from up above. Uh, yeah, great film, man. I really like this film, and it gave us a really good sort of springboard to the rest of Marvel, really. So
Mm.
yeah, I can't really
Um,
complain.
Looking back, Deval, I'm just looking at these figures over here. It
Mm,
did 400, looking back now on reflection, 450 million,
mm,
considering kind of like, the Iron Man movies and the Avengers movies. That's
yeah.
like, you're looking about billions over there. 450 is kind of like, decent,
Quite
but
conservative, but I think because of the timing of when
Venom did
Marvel
more than
wasn't
that.
Marvel is what Marvel is now. It wasn't then. It hadn't gathered all the
Yeah,
momentum, all the people, all the followers that it has now. It
putting
didn't
all the
have then.
pieces
So
in,
I
yeah.
think then that 400 million is all the hardcore people,
Hmm.
and then the other 400 million on top to make it 800 million. That'd be all the add-ons, the tag-alongs, the people that you know. So I think that the hardcore
Facts.
people
Look at
are the
Deval,
people
man.
they need
He's
to
laying it
remember.
down, man.
It's true. They need to remember the hardcore people that built the foundations for Marvel to be what Marvel is today. And then
True.
before that, even you have the comic book people who before the movie people. So
Yes.
it goes back and back and back. You
Yeah.
know.
The Blade people. Remember people who went out and watched
There you
Blade,
go.
man? There
And
you
you
go.
keep
That was
Blade on the
back
tip of
in
your tongue, mate. We'll be
the...
talking about him.
exactly. Um, and if you haven't seen Thor, I mean, again, you
Yeah.
could, if you
What you doing?
obviously
Disney
write a
Plus,
review,
eh?
Disney Plus, like you could win
Uh-huh.
that. You could be watching it. But yeah, you should definitely be watching the movie. All right, okay.
Yeah.
This leads us nicely into the reason why we obviously picked this movie is because it's an MCU movie. It's kind of like in this whole kind of phase two. Was it phase two? Yeah, no, sorry, phase one.
Phase
And
one.
now fast forward to obviously the 10 years, and we're in phase four, and we've got a brand new Marvel movie hitting cinemas. And Deval and I, we went out, we watched it, and this is Eternals. And
Yep.
as we said at the beginning of the show, kind of like the hype has been, huge with this movie. It's kind of like Chloe Zhao, who's the director of this movie. She won an Oscar for Nomadland, which we
Yeah.
watched and we reviewed on the show. So kind of bringing this kind of like raw, like heft behind this Marvel movie. And I got to say, Deval, like seriously, I was super kind of like I was like, yeah, man, I want to watch this movie. I want to see which direction they're gonna take Eternals into,
Mm.
and all right, what we'll do is let's do the setup. Let's do the setup. Let's do the setup, and then let's
Okay.
speak about the good stuff, right? And then
Okay.
we can speak about all the other stuff. So let's do a nice, decent setup for our listeners. Where are you in this whole thing? It takes place after, obviously, Avengers,
Yeah, the snap, all of
the
that.
snap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like I said, it takes place in current history, which is
yeah.
actually technically 2023 or 2024. No, 2025. No,
2025,
shit.
right? No,
Well, it's five because
2023
remember there's
or
a
something.
5 year jump. So whatever year
Yeah.
it is, that's the year it is. But yeah, it's modern times. But saying that, these Eternals have been around for eons. They are not of human form. They were forged from celestials who, in the film, actually, now it says that celestials were there before the singularities
Right.
of
Yeah.
the Infinity Stone. So
Of the Infinity
it's saying
Stones.
that celestials are basically the architects of the universe.
Yeah.
So if we're a round table with people that are really deeply religious, this is going to disturb them if they're not teaching kids that celestials are gods, are their gods.
Yeah. It's true.
So,
It's
but
true.
anyway, it's true, yeah. But yeah, so they're saying that celestials created the universe, celestials created Eternals to then guard or look after certain planets that will also give birth to new celestials. So
Mm.
celestials are birthed from other objects in space, whether they're suns, whether they're planets. Celestials are birthed from those. So that's what the Eternals are there for, to look after, the gardeners, the
Yeah.
caretakers,
Yeah.
and that's the history of them. So over millions of years, you see a bit of the history of Eternals over different time periods, from Mesopotamia, from Babylonian sort of times,
Yeah.
all over history, and you see this play out. And then it comes to sort of modern times, and it seems the deviants, who are the sort of other race that have come out from the birth of civilized, or birth of creation. The deviants are the kind of evil ones who want to cause mayhem and havoc and want to kill humans and kill life. So
Yeah.
the Eternals are often always fighting the deviants to protect life forms. But then recent times, the deviants have come back, and now it looks like the Eternals are going to have to fight the deviants to protect humankind. But but it's not so simple. We find out that there's much more than meets the eye. It seems that the main celestial, what's his name,
Arishem.
Arishem, yeah, Arishem, the main celestial. It seems like he didn't tell everyone the truth,
No.
and the only Eternal that knew the full truth, Salma Hayek's character, Ajak,
Ajak.
she didn't tell the rest of the Eternals the truth. The truth being that they are only there to look after their planet until the celestial is born from
Mm.
that planet, meaning that that planet Earth is going to be destroyed. And obviously, the Eternals, Gemma Chan's character, Rob Stark's character, Richard
Yeah.
Madden, Angelina Jolie's character, uh, uh, Kumail Nanjigani's character,
Mm.
Brian Tyree, all the Eternals basically have been on Earth for thousands of years, and they kind of like Earth. They don't want to move, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Uh,
now they're kind of conflicted as to what to do. Do they listen to their creator and just let the Earth be destroyed by the birth of a new celestial, or do they somehow try and fight the birth of the new celestial and go against their creator? So this is the dilemma that they're going against, and that's the kind of setup of the story, and
Brilliant.
that's where we
That's
find ourselves.
exactly that's a great setup. And just so you know, like we're going to be there's going to be spoilers here, and we're
Spoilers,
going to be
yeah,
speaking about like post credit scenes and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah,
listen, if you haven't seen the movie, stop right now and come back and listen to this episode or watch this episode on
yeah,
YouTube. So that's a great setup, Devaldo. And you're right. There's this kind of conflict. What do they do? Do they deal with the deviants, or do they let it kind of the planet Earth explode and give birth to this new celestial, or do they kind of protect? And and there is kind of like, the crux of the story, isn't it? It's like, they love the Eternals, especially Cersei, who's played by,
Cersei, yeah.
yeah, Cersei is played by Gemma Chan. She loves the humans. She's like, she's watched
Mm,
them grow. She's kind of like interacted with them and everything, and her love for the humans.
mm.
Um,
And she's fallen in love with one, isn't she?
she's
Fell in
fallen
love
in love with
with
one,
what's his name?
with Jon
Dane
Snow.
Whitman. Yeah, Jon Snow.
Yes, which we'll come to in a bit. So that's kind of like, he's an important character. So she's fallen in love with him in, present day, England. They're in London, and they get attacked and whatnot. So she's, at a crossroads because she loves humans, but at the same time she's an eternal. Her job was to kind of, um, you know. I think her role is to kind of like, cultivate life so that then another celestial can be born, and etc., etc. And then we get into this whole kind of saga of finding the different Eternals, because they've all been dispersed. And like you mentioned, Kumail, he's now in India. They go to India. He's a
Yeah,
Bollywood superstar.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
the guy that's with him. He's
Oh, his driver
he's
or
like
something like that.
he's
Yeah,
funny.
he's funny, man. So he brings they bring a lot of humor. There's a lot of diversity. I've got to say, remember, this is the first Marvel
Yeah.
movie which features a deaf character,
Yep.
which features a gay character,
Yep.
and um, and I'm assuming, yeah, this is the first brown
Yeah.
superhero, right,
Yes.
on
Yeah. And
screen.
just you're right. The diversity is like all over the world. They touch every sort of race, sort of gender, everything's touched literally. So that was good. Yeah, that was good to see. I didn't
Yeah,
complain at that actually. If you saw first gay kiss actually as well.
huge. Oh, and
Yeah,
basically, as a kind of like a little side note, it's been the Eternals is banned in certain Gulf countries because of that.
because of yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So like Dubai,
yeah,
like United Arab Emirates, and all
yeah.
that sort of places, they
I'm
are
sure even in China, maybe they might edit out that kiss. They might have a different version.
yes,
I wouldn't be
absolutely.
surprised.
Or even Fastos might even be prominent on the poster or something.
Oh yeah, they probably cut him out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, and like, yeah, there could be some shit like that. But so the one thing that I want to say, Marvel, they're doing great. It's not just kind of like token representation. They are like,
Mm,
pushing kind of as much as they can do, and as much as they can in the 21st century. They are doing that. And like I said before, I was expecting this vast, deep, um, kind of, a different types of, heroes than what we've seen
yeah,
with Avengers. Because for how long, Deval, can they keep, pushing the Avengers? That we have to see new characters, right?
yeah. We've got to
Um,
see
we,
someone new.
yeah, we've got to see someone new, and they're doing that. They're bringing that to us, and I don't know why though. Whilst I was watching the movie, I just wasn't feeling it like I have felt like watching the countless other
Yeah,
Marvel movies. And
yeah.
you know, it's not the direction, because the movie looks great. I watched it on a great. I didn't watch it in IMAX, but I watched it on.
Mm,
It's called VMAX, which
okay,
you've got IMAX, and then you've got VMAX, which is just a bit
okay.
smaller. So the sound is
Good
great.
screen, good
Uh,
sound. Okay.
huge, great sound. I watched it on that. It looks visually, it looks stunning, and everything. The actors are all amazing. But what was it, Devout? I can't like. Was it the story?
I
Was it
think
the
I know.
fact that
You know,
it was
I think
baggage?
for me, there's too many people. There's the team's
Yeah,
10. There ain't even 10 Avengers. I mean, there wasn't 10 Avengers originally. Now there's like 50, but yeah, there's
yeah,
too many of them to start with.
huge.
There were so many moments where it was just like talking and all that kind of stuff, setting
Yeah,
things up, which you got to do because they're new characters.
exposition. Yeah,
That's the word, yeah. But there's just too many of them, and you got to try and cover them all, and it's tricky to do that.
mm.
And then some of their powers are just the Eternals. They're meant to be mad powerful. For me, they should be like mad powerful, but they weren't really all that powerful. And
I
I don't
know.
know how how strong they were, like how much
Mm.
how durable they were. It's hard to really tell, but yeah, it just I think it fell a little bit flat. Like there was one moment, I'm gonna lie, there's one moment where I kind of almost fell asleep,
I know what you
and then
mean.
a bit of action happened to wake me up, and I was oh phew. This was the forest fight scene.
Yes.
It was just. it was a bit lacking. It wasn't
Yeah.
shit, but it was just a bit lacking for me, a little bit lacking. I hope the sequel or whatever is going to be better. But there's too many of them, man.
I mean, listen, I like, the deviants. They
Mm.
I
Just your standard creatures. They seem like the
standard
Outriders from Infinity
creatures.
War. Them kind of creature
Exactly.
things.
And I was just like, man, I don't know. I just felt like as if they've been created by, there's a big kind of twist in the movie where actually the deviants are actually created by Arishem as well,
And had a bit more
and
character to them, isn't it? Yeah,
exactly,
that'd
and
be better.
add a bit more character to them, and then one of the deviants starts killing off some of the Eternals and starts
Mm,
absorbing their powers, and then he
mm.
starts turning into kind of like more human like. And
You
I
know, that
was
was Bill
thinking,
Skarsgård. You know, the clown.
yes, it
He
was
voiced
him.
it. What a waste! It's like we hardly even got to really.
Yeah, I thought, you know what I really thought? I thought that as he was, or it was sucking the power of the
Mm.
Eternals, he was going to turn more and look more like a kind of like a Thanos type of a character.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was going to be like that, but there was this kind of like a whole big CGI kind of like
Mm,
villain,
mm.
which Thanos is a CGI villain, but it's kind of
Oh, but he's got so much character,
character,
charisma.
man.
I love
Come on,
Thanos.
come on.
Ah,
We've been spoilt with Thanos. Do you know that?
yeah,
Seriously.
mate.
So
He
then
was the
we
best.
yeah, we get these deviants and everything like that, right? And it's just kind of it wasn't up there, and so a part of me is like, okay, great, we get to see the Eternals. Salma Hayek, she's kind of the prime Eternal, and then
Mm,
she basically dies, so you don't really see her a lot in the movie. So it's Gemma Chan's movie, and then there's Cersei, and then her kind of relationship with um, Rob Stark, and
yeah.
Haddon, Madden, whatever his name is, and I felt like his acting was just an extension of Game of Thrones.
He was a bit like non-emotional throughout the whole film, isn't it? Very
Huge.
kind of plain, and he was like meant to be their sort of Superman character. He was like their strongest one. Why wouldn't they all give him powers like him? I mean, if you're
Ex-
Avisham the judge or whatever you call him, give them all superpowers. Why just giving them
exactly.
like silly powers
I
each?
know. And the thing is, right? So the twist is that Icarus, his name is, the character of
Yeah,
Icarus, is really powerful and everything.
flew too
Superman, like,
close to the sun. Oh yeah, he did.
that was
I was
so.
like,
I'm
oh my
so glad you
gosh.
noticed that.
Oh,
So on the
he flew
nose.
too close.
Oh my gosh, you know what? It was so on the nose. I was just like, oh my gosh, like, okay, you're doing that, are you? And then
The character that surprised me, that actually didn't think actually I didn't want her to be in the film, but I didn't think she was too bad. But Angelina Jolie's character,
Jolie,
for some reason, yeah, she didn't actually. I didn't mind her. She was
yeah,
okay. She was
yeah,
okay. It's almost
she
like she was as Angelina Jolie. I thought she'd demand too much of the screen or
screen,
something, but she kind of just like did her thing, and I
yeah,
kind of liked that. Yeah,
yeah,
she did
that
her
was good.
thing. She wasn't too much.
No, absolutely, you're absolutely right. And I was just like, okay, look. So the twist was that he knew he's the one who kind of he turns a bit bad, even though he's supposed to be a good guy. He turns a bit bad. So
Hmm.
Icarus turns a
Hmm.
bit bad. But then, right at the last minute, he does an about turn, and then he kind of like sacrifices himself and everything, and then it's kind of like, right, okay. I was like, oh gosh, man,
Hmm.
you know. So yeah, so we're left with a group of Eternals. So
Yeah.
the number of Eternals is reduced. They're there, and then Arisham, he gets annoyed because the Eternals, they save the day, and he's like, right, okay, I'm gonna judge you guys, and he snaps, he
Mhm.
takes them away into another dimension or whatnot, and we're left with Dan. You mentioned Dan Whitman, Deval.
Mm,
He's about to tell Cersei something, and tell us
yeah,
about this, because
you
who's this
kind of know.
character?
Yeah.
Yeah, who's this
So
character?
Dan Whitman in the character is he's the Black Knight, and he wields the ebony blade.
Yeah,
And I think he was going to tell Cersei's character a bit about his family. I don't know if he's going to say that exactly, but he's going to say something. But yeah, he's a deep character in the comics, and this sort of takes us to one of the post-credit scenes, which I'll sort of talk about now because we're on the subject. But
yeah,
we see uh, Dan Whitman opening a box with a sword in it. The sword is like shrouded in some sort of like cloth which has a few blood stains on it. See, the ebony blade is a deep, deep blade. It's kind of similar to the necro sword that we're going to see in Love and Thunder. This blade's special abilities is the ability to entrap one's soul of a person that's killed.
Mm,
And the more souls it traps, the more it allures you. The more almost drunk you get on capturing those souls because it gives you more power.
right.
So it kind of the holder of the sword almost can be glamored by it and can be taken by it, and can
Yeah.
actually, if they're not careful, they can become quite evil. So he's
Right.
got to be careful what he does going forward. But the sword kind of calls out to him in this moment,
Yeah.
calls out to him. Uh, and then there's a Latin word inscribed in the box, which
Yeah.
translates to "death is one's reward." I think it says.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and then you hear a voice in the back say, "Dan Whitman, are you ready for that sword?" I think it says.
Yeah.
And
Because he's about to touch it, right?
yeah, and even you see like some black sort of liquid type
Like
stuff on the blade
symbiote
because the
stuff or
blade's coming
something.
to life, calling him.
Yeah.
But yeah, you hear this voice. He turns around. We don't see who it is, but many people, including us, believe
Yeah.
it could be none other than the Daywalker himself, Blade, who's
Oh,
Mahershala Ali, who we know is going to be coming out in a couple of
coming.
years' time. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you think about this. Whether it's a good match, whether you think it's actually him, or maybe it's the Watcher. Some people say it's the Watcher. I mean,
If it was the Watcher, I would be like, if it was the Watcher, they should definitely get Jeffrey Wright, and then I
mm,
think he has such a distinct voice. I think we would have kind of got it, but
okay,
Blade, that does
mm,
sound about right, and
mm,
there's this kind of maybe dark connection there, and like so yeah,
mm,
it kind of makes sense. But the thing is, we've now been introduced to another Marvel character,
mm,
and like Deval said, he's the wielder of this sword, which has been in his family for generations, and if he's not too
mm,
careful, it can basically take hold of him. So there's that kind of post-credit scene, and then we kind of watch obviously the credits as is usual with Marvel. You know that there's going to be another nugget, which is kind of
yeah,
you know, and that's one of the great things about Marvel movies. It's the tease, isn't it, at the end of the
yeah,
movies, Deval, which is like of what's to come,
yeah.
and that is what is exciting. And I have to say, right, before watching this movie, silly me or silly people who put leaks
Ah,
online,
this is the thing you found out, yeah.
this is the thing that I saw,
Ah,
and I wasn't happy about the actor that they kind of got to,
so you're talking about the first post credit scene where the Eternals are on the ship.
yes.
The Eternals are on some of the Eternals are on their ship, and they're saying
And
that they haven't seen the other Eternals for a few weeks. They're
yes,
searching for them, and then a portal opens up or something on the
something
ship,
opens up.
and then Pip the Troll comes out,
Yeah,
who's voiced by Patton Oswald,
yes,
and he's chatting about something, and he's sort of giving the entrance announcement
yeah,
to someone else coming through the portal, who we get to see at the last second, but he announces him as brother of Thanos
yes.
and conqueror of so and so on. And you think, shit, brother of
Star,
Thanos. As soon as he said that, I knew who he meant.
yeah,
And I thought, oh shit, Star Fox
yeah, Star Fox,
or
yeah.
Eros. And then we saw eventually walking through. And the funny thing is, even when I saw it, I didn't know who he was. I thought his face looked familiar, but I didn't realize it was Harry Styles. I
It's
didn't
Harry
realize.
Styles, man. I was just like,
I
oh
didn't
my
realize.
gosh.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I don't know. Look, no dissing the guy. He's great as in one direction, whatever I'm told, and everything like that.
Mm,
And I don't know. I just was kind of that whole thing, like him. Like I read about it online. I saw kind of like a picture of it and everything like that, right?
okay.
And I
Okay.
wasn't. But the fact that we're getting to see Thanos' brother is great
Mm,
because now we're introduced to another
mm,
Marvel character. So we've got Dan
mm,
Whitman, and now we've got Eros, like aka Star Fox and everything. And his whole thing is like he's kind of like the complete opposite of Thanos, like
yeah.
the jovial,
Yeah.
the happy-go-lucky
He's a
type of
ladies'
person.
man as well, from what I
A
hear.
ladies' man, exactly.
Mm,
So, and he kind of gives a wink at
yeah.
Athena in there as well. So that's kind of
Yeah.
like interesting.
I think
S
Eros is the Greek god of love, isn't it? I think, or
yes, and
something like that.
so like a natural kind of maybe a pair up with Angelina Jolie, but I don't see that kind of happening because
Mm-mm.
But listen, look. So we're gonna definitely get to see more of Eros, And
Yeah.
so this sets up kind of Eternals Part 2, or I don't know, where else can we see
Yeah.
him in?
Yeah, because we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to find the rest of the Eternals,
Mm,
and they need to be judged by Erishim or whoever's going to judge. Maybe it's the Living Tribunal. I don't know.
yeah.
Don't forget, we've still got the half body of a celestial sticking out of the water in the Indian Ocean. By the way,
Yes.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
So there's a lot going on. That's the celestials. They got some cleaning up to do. They got a
exactly.
mess.
And that thing, so great that you touched on that. That thing sticking, celestial sticking out of the ocean. They're saying that is what triggers the underwater ocean event that
Namor.
Namor.
Oh shit.
So could that have affected the whole? Because remember, they needed to join. The Eternals needed to join together to be able to
Mm,
subdue the celestial that's
yeah.
within the planet and everything like that. And maybe
Yeah.
that is something. Um, but yeah, look,
Shit.
we're definitely going to be seeing obviously more. And was there a thing at the end which said the Eternals will return?
I think so. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I think what I reckon they obviously will return. This movie will
Mm.
take a lot of money at the box office. And the crazy thing is, though, Deval, let's finish on this. It's the lowest rated Marvel movie on
Is it?
I think it's got 53% on
Is
Rotten
it?
Tomatoes. I mean, you
Ah.
can't always look at that and
Mm,
for
mm,
that to mean that it's a shit movie. It's not shit.
mm,
It's it's just not probably what we were expecting, and maybe that's because we
mm.
were expecting too much. Deval,
Too
were we?
much. Yeah. I wasn't expecting too much to be honest myself, but I know what you mean. It's like you do want something to be good when it comes to Marvel. You see this
Yeah.
whole crew of Eternals. It's been delayed a year. So
Mm.
yeah, I can see expectations could be a bit higher than normal, but for me myself, I wasn't too bothered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's kind of you put it at the back over there with Thor
Mm,
2, with
yeah.
like Iron Man 3, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah.
that
I
you
just
can see
hope,
at the
I
back
just
of the
hope
glass.
that I hope that the new crop of characters and so on don't carry on like this because I don't want it to be a thing where okay, we're just gonna like the old characters, we're just gonna like Thor, we're just gonna like Spider Man, we're just gonna like Captain
Yeah,
America, we're just gonna like Iron Man, we're just gonna like these ones that we know of. The new ones, I hope it's not like that. So I have to wait and
absolutely,
see, man.
absolutely. So listen, folks, go check it out. Go check out the
Oh,
movie, and
mm,
yeah, let us know what you think. Get in touch with us on Instagram at Flixters, and let us know whether or not we were talking shit, whether or not you agreed with us, you disagreed with us, whether it's yeah, if it's your cup of tea. So, Deval,
yeah,
I think I mean we've gone on for quite a bit. I think we might have to save the harder they fall for next week's episode. How's that?
yeah. Okay, that's cool. Okay, yeah, we can do
Or
that.
have you got have you got time now?
We can sneak it in if you want.
All right,
If you
let's
want,
do
we can
it.
sneak it in real
I
quick.
don't mind. I
Yeah.
don't mind. I want to speak about this movie. I love,
Okay, go
like I
ahead.
said
Yeah, go
before,
ahead.
I love this movie. James Samuel, who's the director of The Harder They Fall. I did not know
Yeah.
this. He's a British film
Oh,
director. Not only a film director, he's actually a music producer. He's
what?
worked on, yeah, man. He's worked with Adele. He's worked with, um, man. Seriously, go on. If you go check out his kind
Damn.
of like
Okay.
Wikipedia page, this guy has been like he's in the movie in the music scene for a while,
Mm.
and this is his basically his debut. He's done like a short film before, but this is his film debut. He
Wow.
wrote it, he produced it, co-produced it. He was the composer, and
Mm-mm.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of this guy. But here's some interesting pieces of information: Cynthia Erivo, Wesley Snipes,
Mm.
Sterling K. Brown. They were the original cast members,
Is
and
it?
they basically had to pull out of the show, pull out of production because of COVID. Production
Okay.
overran, and the pandemic hit. Someone in the like a background actor caught COVID, and then they basically had to kind of like
Is it?
mess things up. And
Shit.
now we've got um, Delroy Lindo, Idris
Mm.
Elba,
Mm.
Regina King. We've got Zazzie
Regina.
Beats,
Mm.
Lakeith Stanfield.
Mm.
We've got Jonathan Majors.
Mm.
And I tell you what, man, this is. I wrote this down. What is it? It's at the beginning of the movie. There's a little kind of title that says this film is a fictional film, but
Yeah.
these people existed. So
Yeah.
what this is, right, is a reimagining of that era, the Western
Mm.
era, because all the movies, Deval, that I watched growing up as a kid, Fistful of Dollars and kind of like, Once Upon a Time in the West and Unforgiven. Well, mind you, Unforgiven did have like a black character in there, but I mean,
Mm.
it's all obviously, white people in there and like,
Mm.
black characters were kind of secondary. This movie has African Americans at basically the forefront.
Mm.
It's their story.
Mm.
And here's a quote from the director. It says, if you remove women and people of color from the storylines of the Old West, you don't necessarily have the Old West at all. So what I
Mm.
think is this is kind of like, the new Old West. We're seeing kind of these stories because people of color were part of kind of like the old west, and the
Mm.
breakdown of the story is kind of like great. It's Jonathan Majors who plays Nat Love, and it starts off with this family. They're basically having dinner, and there's a knock on the door, and there's a real mean looking guy. You don't really get to see the face, but all you see is him walking into the house, and the old man, the kind of the preacher in the house, saying, please, not my kids, not my wife,
Mm.
not right now. And basically, you just see them being gunned down.
Mm.
And then a 10-year-old boy is basically getting his forehead carved by this person, right? And that person then grows up to be Nat Love, and
Mm.
that's played by Jonathan Majors, and he's basically, he and his crew are, they're looking for basically this, this one person called Buck. Um, what was his name? Buck what? Can you remember what his name was?
Buck something. I can't
Buck
remember.
Sutton, played by Idris Elba. And
Yeah.
basically, Deval, I mean, I got to say, man, the music was brilliant. It kind of
Yeah.
had a Tarantino feel. And the reason why I say
Yes. I was
that,
going to
it
say.
had a
Yeah.
Tarantino feel, it was co-produced by Lawrence Bender, who produced a lot of Tarantino's movies. But
Mm.
more importantly, I'm not sure if you remember this kind of debate or this controversy. Like people like Spike Lee
Mm.
really took aim at Quentin Tarantino for using the N word
Okay.
in movies like the Hateful Eight and
Mm.
Django Unchained and stuff like that, right? And in this movie, I thought it was quite unique. They do not use the N word at all.
Once. Mm.
They do not use it. There's just
I think
one
they say this
incident.
Negro. They say this
I
Negro or
see they say
something.
Negro.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah,
Yeah. But
they
then they
do say
say
that.
yeah.
Yeah, and there's this one bit right where a white character is
Mm.
maybe about to say the N word,
Yeah.
and he gets his head blown off, which I thought was just brilliant. And Lakeith Stanfield was like, "Well, maybe he could have said nincompoop." Like it was brilliant. It's such a brilliant kind of story,
Yeah.
and maybe I'm selling it. I'm not explaining the plot line, but basically it's Jonathan Majors. He and his
No,
crew.
you said that well. It's like a revenge. It's like a revenge film,
Yeah,
isn't it? Revenge story, which a lot of sort of westerns kind of are. But
yeah.
you're right. This was very colourful, very vibrant. The cast, for me, I don't like westerns. You know, I don't like westerns,
I
but
know
I
you don't.
enjoyed this film more than I enjoyed Eternals because the
Yes.
film had so many different aspects that drove the film forward. The characters, the dialogue, the music, the
Wow, yeah.
setting. It was a cool film. It was actually
Yes.
a cool film, literally. And yeah, and all the actors in it, Idris to Zazzie Beats. I did like Lakeith Stanfield's character. He
It's
was so
brilliant.
calm, but
Oh
he's so
man.
deadly. Those are the
Yes.
sort of characters you see in a lot of like manga, a lot of those manga animations where
Yeah.
you see like a calm kind of cat who's just like no, 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 no,
And
kind of thing,
they're
and
the
he can just
killers with the
kill people with
sword and
one
like
swipe. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
exactly. So like he was, but they were all good. They were all good. Literally,
yeah.
it was a good film. I
I
liked
liked
it.
it. I really, really enjoyed it. Listen, I mean, I kind of, I think it had like kind of it's got a limited cinema release,
Yeah,
and
it
it
did.
is a
Yeah,
movie which would play really, really well in
yeah,
the cinema because
yeah,
obviously, like 35 millimeter, like great directing, great
mm,
colors,
yeah,
and it definitely has that Western vibe. And I was just like, you know what, it's great seeing Idris Elba up there and seeing Delroy Lindo
As a baddie too.
as a baddie as well. And I just thought they're really well written characters, and you should definitely go and see it. It's bloody, lots of obviously gunfights in there, lots of shooting and whatnot. And Jonathan Majors devour this guy, man, Kang.
Kang the Conqueror.
We're gonna be
He's
seeing
all right,
more
isn't
of
it?
him.
He's all right.
He's good, man. He's good. So yeah, that's a big thumbs up from me. And for me, I gotta say that's movie of the week for me.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I agree. Definitely. I agree.
All right. I think that's it, man. That's all we've got time for. That's 1 hour.
Yep, 1 hour. Bob's your uncle. And yeah, write that review. Get your Disney Plus subscription, and peace out. Till next time.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Just pop in the Flixters podcast.